listening to Pubcast. The terrorists are winning. That's what Jay Moore says.
Welcome to the Pubcast. Sit down and enjoy a pint.
Okay, welcome back to the Pubcast. We are keeping the beaches open as we break down Jaws this time. We recorded this just after the 45th anniversary of Jaws opening weekend. And this time Rob Nash joins us, which is our first new guest in a while. And of course, Rob gives me the obligatory "Are you recording?" at the top of the show, which is always fun. Jaws is a classic, arguably Spielberg's best movie, but certainly his most quotable. So here's Allison, Eric, Rob, and me breaking down Jaws.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws. This is Universal's extraordinary motion picture version of Peter Benchley's best-selling novel, Jaws.
I just found out that a girl got killed here last week, and you knew it. You knew there was a shark out there. You knew it was dangerous, but you let people go swimming anyway. Did you see that?
It's all psychological. You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Is it true that most people get attacked by sharks in 3 feet of water, about 10 feet from the beach?
Yeah.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect engine, an eating machine.
We're not only going to have to close the beach, we're going to have to hire somebody to kill the shark.
Bad fish. But I'll catch him and kill him.
Did you hear your father? Out of the water now!
This shark, swallow you whole.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
That's a 20-footer.
25. 3 tons of them.
Hurry up, he's coming straight for us. Don't screw it up now. Don't wait for me. Now! Shoot! What's the deal? Give him room! I can't! He's trying to run! Oh! Come quick! I can't hold it! Hurry! Break it up! Hurry!
None of man's fantasies of evil can compare with the reality of Jaws. Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Jaws. See it before you go swimming.
Did you watch our little movie this week?
I will say, are you recording?
As you know, I am always recording.
I will say I have not studied a subject this ardently in probably 15 years.
That's why you're on this podcast, dude.
Right. Yes. I watched the movie or rewatched the movie 1.5 times over 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I've done significant searching and researching, and I was coming up with the answers to some of your questions as I walked down the stairs.
Wow. All right. I think you may have over-prepared.
I think I have.
I whipped my stuff together in about 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it reflects more of what's going on in my home and my life than anything else.
Well, so this is the fifth one that the three of us, me, Allison, and Eric, have done. And I think we're getting sick of each other. We know each other's tricks at this point. So it's time for me to start changing it up, and you are the first new guest on this new format. So,
I'm honored.
Yeah, it's very important. All right, is everybody ready?
I think so.
Yes.
Rob, do you have any non sequiturs like to?
You mean non sequiturs that I'm not holding back for the show?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
All right, Jaws, 1975. Here is the plot explained by IMDb. First, I hated these, and now I'm starting to like them because they're so like deadpan and to the point and just telling you the basics of what happens in the story.
I feel like that is your personality sometimes.
No, I like them because they're so ridiculous. You don't get the theme of the thought of the story at all, or
Allison, it's like Brendan. It's Brendan relating any emotional event.
Hey, man.
Like no context.
It's Brendan answering the question from a police officer when he gets pulled over.
Oh, good Lord. Where are you going? Just driving. How fast are you going? I don't know. That's the way you do it. That's how you don't get shot. Okay. When a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community, it's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down. An old seafarer? Is that how we're going to describe Quint?
Yeah, I think someone had easy access to a thesaurus.
Seafarer. Yeah. Okay, let's start with you, Nash, since you're the new blood. Do you remember? I mean, we obviously were not old enough to go see this when it came out, but
no. So
when and where you saw it?
It's funny that in thinking of this question, I was 3 years old in 1975 and probably 2.5 when this came out. And, but I do remember my cousin taking me to Jaws 2 in the theater, which was wholly inappropriate. A few years later. I remember seeing Jaws on the ABC Sunday night movie. Remember how they would always show a movie?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
They would show it an hour earlier, like at 6 p.m., I think. Or maybe it was Disney from 6 to 7, and then the movie would come on.
Yeah.
But I just remember begging my parents to let me stay up to see Jaws. So this is probably late 70s. And I got to see the edited, version.
I know. I think the edited version, I don't remember. There's no way I was scared by it that early on. So I think it was so sanitized.
I think the one money shot they kept in, sort of like in terms of the terror, was like Quint, and I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah.
At the end.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen this 45-year-old movie.
But I think for some reason that image is in my mind. So I feel like I saw that.
I don't think you saw like the severed leg and that type of stuff.
Not jumping ahead. I saw the first time I saw it as a very similar fashion, and I remember them having the part with Quint, but the part that they cut out when there was the close up on his face and he spits up a bunch of blood, that was cut out, but the rest of it was it. Yeah,
the image of the teeth in his gut, that part was still there.
Yeah. So
I'm sure I probably watched it around the same time that Eric did.
Right.
But I could not handle the movie the first few times.
I don't remember being scared by it.
The part of the scare was that we grew up on a lake. So, there's it made it a little bit too weird. We would go for like sunset swims and stuff like that. And then somebody'd like be swimming underwater and grab your leg and like you'd completely freak out about it. So it just added kind of a different thing for me.
When
I guess.
I saw it, I was in arguably the most landlocked part of the country. There was no water within hundreds of miles. It was Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
It was the middle of the country. So I had no idea from lakes or oceans.
Right.
Never saw them, never was in them. I had no idea.
And I knew that there are no sharks in a lake in Wisconsin. So, there's no rational part of it, but it really creeped me out for sure.
Well, it was so, it changed how you played when you went swimming.
Oh, yes.
Well,
no, kids would do the
sharks and minnows? Yeah.
And I had an older brother who was 7 years older than me. He and his friends were just torture machines. And they would do the swim under, they would kind of just lower down in the water, and then you didn't know where they were. And
this thing has evolved. It's a perfect torture machine. All it does is eat and torture and make baby torture machines.
Yes, torture machines.
Yeah. All right. Let's try. We're going to get stuck in a few different places, especially the trivia. There's a lot of trivia here. And I'm sure Nash will have a lot of trivia because he's done all the research. But let's jump into Rotten Tomatoes scores. First, the audience. What do you guys think the audience score on this one was?
100.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super quick and.
Well, no. So can I offer a tortured answer?
Yes.
That's what
I think
that's the whole point of this whole thing is tortured discussions.
I think Rotten Tomatoes, only goes back, only allows people to vote from 2000 on, or maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah, but I think they do compile older, at least for the critics, they compile older.
Yeah, or on the critics, because they can get that. But I feel given CGI and the fact that it literally helped to create a genre, people will be oh, I've seen so many better versions of that story. If you were born in the 90s or the 2000s, just because you look at it again, I did this week, and you're of course it's terrifying, but you can obviously see the mechanics of it a little bit more.
Are you saying this shark isn't real?
I'm saying that people may not be as impressed by the.
So what do you think the score was then? After all that, say 100.
No, not 100. I'm going to say 72.
100.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric?
72.
I'm going to say 98.
The audience score for Jaws from Rotten Tomatoes was 90%.
Really?
Yeah. That seems a little low.
That's really low.
What do you think the critic score was?
Oh, 98.
100.
95.
Allison's going 100 again.
I'm going to go 100 again.
Eric goes 95. Nash says 98.
Because I'm going based on the fact that you had indicated that critics scores from then and everything.
I believe that. I believe that's what it is, and I haven't looked that up to verify that, but I think that's what it is. So, critic score 98%. Nash wins. Game over. End the podcast. 98 from critics, 90 from the audience. Yeah, I think Rob's explanation actually makes sense, but I'm surprised. How can it be that low?
It was never about what you saw. I think that's the thing. I would have expected it to be a higher score because so much of Jaws is not seeing it.
Right. I know.
And so the special effects at the time were
good enough.
Yeah. But I would have
They're
thought
probably good enough for today, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's not as bad. It's just, not like Jurassic Park level.
Right. Yeah. I mean, short of that, you could argue that this is one of a handful of near perfect movies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. I'm going to jump into the trivia. There are all sorts of directions we can go with this. I'm going to just run through mine. You guys can jump in and add your own whenever, or if there's, blanks, I can fill in the blanks here and there. But I don't want to go. This is one movie we could do 45 minutes on trivia and whatever. But
sure.
Yeah, it's almost endless.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a part of your trivia, but I think we've chosen this movie to do now for one reason. And then Eric noticed kind of a coincidence as well.
What?
In the movie. So
let's say it. Oh,
it was the 45th anniversary of the release of Jaws this last week, correct?
Yeah. It was a week ago this weekend, right?
And excuse me. And Eric, I'm trying to remember. Maybe you can jump in on Today is June 28th, so tomorrow June 29th. Eric, you noticed this?
Yeah. So after the little boy Alice Kintner is eaten by the shark, and his mom puts out the bounty. There was a sign posted where it says $3,000 for the person who gets the shark, who killed Alice Kintner on June 29th. And then later on in the movie, when Robert Shaw is doing his monologue about the Indianapolis, and he says he gets to the part where he's rescued. He says, and then he came out of the water on June 29th, 1945. So tomorrow is, I guess, technically if the movie took place in the year it was released, it's the 45th anniversary of Alex Kintner being killed and the 75th anniversary of the sailors being rescued on the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It's a convergence in the force, basically.
Meant to be.
Yeah. Wow.
We're going to be returning to Mrs. Kintner later.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Mrs. Kintner of the multiple slaps.
Slappy slap.
Yep.
Slippity slap. All right, well, let's start off with some of the easy ones. There is no Amity Island. It's Martha's Vineyard, which I think will play a role. To me, it plays a role in when we get to the recasting part, because it's arguably one of the whitest places in the country. And so
it's funny. Let's talk about diversity in the recast.
We will. Oh,
yes, we will.
Definitely will.
I have a preview. I have the whitest version of diversity that you could possibly have.
Whitest version of diversity.
Okay.
Meaning it's like a stereotypical vision of diversity.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, not to get sidetracked. One of the things I saw about Martha's Vineyard, Brendan, was that the physical requirements of the shoot were so crazy, or at least as Spielberg envisioned it, that there were a number of reasons to move it up north there, but one of them was it's so shallow around the island. I never really knew that, because they needed to be, they had to lay things on the surface of the ocean in order to shoot it properly.
Yeah,
so that was a big.
I know very little about that part of the world.
I do too, but it apparently for like Miles, he could go far enough out so they could spin the camera and never see land, but it was still shallow enough to work in.
All right. The three mechanical sharks that played Jaws were nicknamed Bruce after Spielberg's lawyer, Bruce Ramer. I think we all know that. Eric was the first person to point this out to me, 10, 15 years ago, that the name of the big great white shark in Finding Nemo is also Bruce, based on this. So that's a little funny tidbit. I think I knew this, but I had forgotten it. Spielberg was not the original director of Jaws.
Right.
Dick Richards, which that's a great name.
Yeah.
The original director was fired for repeatedly referring to Jaws as a whale in the pitch to producers. What kind of an idiot is this guy? So this big whale comes over.
A big whale.
Dick Dickards here.
Dickie McDickstein. Yeah.
Nice one, Dick.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, have you read this book? Eric, have you read this book?
I have. It is on my list, but I've never read it.
I clearly suffer from a debilitating memory disease because I have read this book, but forgot that I had read it until I started reading into the movie trivia again.
So I thought it was funny that the movie cuts out a subplot where Brody's wife has an affair with Hooper.
Yes. There's a whole like Hooper Ellen Brody context.
Wow.
So I don't want to jump the gun on our categories, but that's the sequel I want to see.
Yes, really.
What's going on with those two? Hooper. Yeah. Brody's famous line. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Excuse me as I burp up my Diet Coke. That line was ad-libbed by Scheider on the day.
Right.
It was not in the script.
Right.
So about that line, one of the other things that I saw was that in an early version of Jaws, when they were doing like a preview for audiences, they showed it in like a Midwest theater or whatever, and the jump scare had people so riled up that they missed the line, and so they had to add a bunch of footage just to give enough time for audiences to recover from when the shark jumps out of the water and he says that line because he wanted to make sure the audience didn't miss the line.
Yeah,
that's funny. That is very funny. There's another. I hope this is on the list, Brendan. But there's another reshoot. Sorry.
Go ahead.
There's as I was reading, I heard about the edit, but I also heard Spielberg was not happy with some of the shots, especially when they found Gardner's, body in the boat.
Yeah.
He didn't like the reveal, and so he snuck back onto the lot and stole equipment and went to his friend's house and reshot it in her pool.
Yeah.
And he used milk to get the pool to be sort of, I guess
cloudy. Yeah.
Murky.
Yeah, murky. And shot it the way he wanted to do it. So
I love it.
It did sound like, for the most part, though, that Spielberg was more nonchalant about this. It was his first or second large film, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Second.
And it seems like it's only encouraged him to be more prepared in the next ones, just because this was, so terrible.
Yeah, it's a famous shit show. This was a horrible production from the get-go.
They missed every timeline and budget and mechanical plan.
And mentally it wasn't healthy. There were incidents of the sort of mental exhaustion, I guess they used to call it.
Well, and there was fighting in the cast and
mental exhaustion, AKA being drunk. I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we can. Robert Shaw not being able to speak his lines on set, which I'm paying homage to.
Yeah, I love the idea that he did that whole Indianapolis thing. He did that whole speech while he was super hammered and couldn't get it out. Had to be basically drug off the set, and then the next day he came back sober or relatively sober and then nailed it. Right. And I also like the idea that he and Richard Dreyfuss hated each other and they were constantly fighting.
And he kept headbutting him.
That's so awesome.
Robert Shaw had a babysitter through the whole production to just try.
He was Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman of the Jaws shoot.
He had Jack Haley trying to babysit him. Yeah.
I heard two other fun facts. One, he was being chased by tax authorities in the UK and the US. And so every weekend on the shoot, he would head off to Canada to just like touch.
It's so great.
Neutral territory because the tax man was chasing him on both countries.
I saw Canada. I also saw Canada or Bermuda too. Like he sort of just anywhere but the US.
And I think his entire salary had to go to the IRS. Like for the movie, I don't think he was able to keep anything.
He was like the proto Nicolas Cage.
Well, Nicolas Cage or Wesley Snipes.
What is this one? We're talking about Quint. That guy Gardner. I forget the actor's name.
He was a local.
He was a local, and apparently he was like the inspiration for the character Quint. Like he was this crazy knuckleheaded, quote unquote, seafarer who would just say these weird lines, and he had the big pork chop sideburns, and you can see him in the movie just being nutty. Whoa, hello.
I'm here.
Sorry, so someone cut out there. So I thought that was like that they created the character. I mean, they kind of did, but it was based on just a local who is a fisherman and who got some lines in the movie.
Yeah, two things I heard about that. One, that guy apparently was a character. He walked around town barefoot. He would often just sing walking down the street and kind of random interactions with people. So I thought it was funny that they then cast him even as this relatively put together guy in the movie. But I thought it kind of actually disappointed me that he based anything about that character on a real person.
I know. I either think less of Robert Shaw or of Spielberg or somebody, that they couldn't put a compelling character together without the guy they happened to find on the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or
there seemed to be a lot. I mean, when we get to casting, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but a lot of, hey, we're doing this tomorrow, and so we need this person.
Yeah. Hey, go find me a character fisherman guy. Yeah.
So we were talking about the infamous drinking of Robert Shaw throughout the whole filming, but apparently the guy who played the mayor was out drinking with people, and on his way back to the hotel bent down to pet a cat, and it was a skunk.
Oh,
and
yes.
He got totally
So Allison, I read the same story, except it was Mayor Vaughn.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you said? I thought you were saying that.
I said the mayor, the guy who played the mayor. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Gardner. Excuse me. Yes.
The mayor.
That was awesome.
Mayor. So he had to do like the whole tomato juice bath and everything else in order to be able to go back on set the next day. Like he thought it was a cat.
So not only
that's fantastic.
I know.
Like if I'm drunk or sober, I'm never stopping to pet a cat.
No.
Like it never sounds like a good idea to me at all, ever.
It's like something from a Looney Tunes cartoon.
It's
Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Eric, all I can think of is Adventures in Babysitting. When she's at the bus terminal.
Yeah. Very much so.
Pets a rat instead of a cat.
Oh, there you go.
Why would you hurt a poor defenseless little kitten?
Quint's boat, the Orca, sank unexpectedly during filming.
Yes.
I love that. I love when insane things like that happen. Yeah. How could that possibly happen? Composer John Williams, when he first played the famous shark theme for Spielberg on the piano, he thought it was a joke. He hated it so much.
Yeah, I saw that too.
again, this movie happened by accident. Like it's all just.
I mean, the music really is a character almost.
Yeah,
in the movie.
Of course.
It's a great way to say it. I mean, between the mistakes or like all the apparent or, stated mistakes of pre-production, it just seems like so many things came together from the music. Because when you watch it again, it's not just those scenes. There's like music in almost every scene underneath all the dialogue. But the music and the casting, even down to the shooting stars, there's 2 shooting stars in the movie, and everyone's like, "Oh, why did you add those?" And Spielberg was like, "I didn't. We just got lucky."
I noticed them, like they stood out when we watched it last night.
Yeah.
I was like, "What? I didn't see that before. I don't know what happened there, but that was kind of cool."
Mm-hmm.
It looked like CG though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not.
The one thing I found weird was when they catch that 13-foot tiger shark or whatever it was, and they have it, hanging on the hook on the dock or whatever.
Right.
Apparently, that was a real shark.
It was a real shark.
They couldn't mock something up and just make it out of foam or latex or whatever.
Well, and I heard that they had to ship it up from
Florida
or whatever. So it was like starting to rot by the time it got there. And like people were like getting nauseous by the smell, and all of the organs were starting to collapse like down towards the mouth or whatever. So it just was completely rancid. And
they couldn't.
Sounds like a normal Sunday afternoon.
Oh my God. I can't imagine that smell. Any other trivia that is not cast related or casting related?
One thing I did want to say, because of the Indianapolis speech, I don't know if we're going to talk about it.
Dive in.
Like in general, the movie, has Gottlieb, and actually I forgot the second writer now. Oh, I didn't bring it. Sorry. But Gottlieb is acts as the Gazette, like the editor reporter in the movie. And, go ahead, Eric.
Oh yeah, he's the newscaster on the beach is the author of the book.
Well, that's Peter Benchley, but the screenwriter for the movie is also the mayor or the newspaper reporter in town. But it was so funny. There's an uncredited writer. Spielberg chipped in, and then on the Indianapolis speech, they talked about it. Carl Gottlieb didn't write the first draft. They had another writer come in, and he did a 10-page speech.
Good Lord.
And then Shaw got a hold of it, and he said, "Let me edit it." So he actually did an active writing role and got it down to the basically what you see on the movie, and then you described the drunken version and then the sober version. But I just thought it was funny that it kind of passed through 3 different writers just for that speech. And I can't decide if that's because there was chaos on the movie, or it was very cool that they would pass it around type thing.
Well, I like that he made it his own.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's great. But I don't know how that can start as a 10-page speech.
Right.
Because I don't know. The speech in the movie is a half a page speech or whatever. It's a 1-page speech.
Well, it's probably three minutes maybe. We should know that, I guess. But so it went from 10 minutes to 3 basically.
Yeah, it couldn't have been just more than just more of the same. Just like him telling more stories about seeing a guy like this, seeing another guy like that. Maybe talking about, I don't know, food or not having food or not having water or something like that really would have just sort of drug it out.
Mm.
And not really. It would have lost a lot of momentum in the story.
The final version nailed it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I have one more kind of funny thing that apparently happened on set, and that was George Lucas had stopped by the set and was looking at the mechanical shark, and he kind of put his head in, kind of joking around, and I think it was Spielberg and somebody else closed the shark mouth on him, and then it got stuck. And it took a while to get him out, and then they were freaking out that they broke the shark again with this little prank or whatever.
George Lucas stuck in a shark, right. Legs flailing. I get the feeling that George Lucas was just the butt of everyone's jokes always. Just as this nerdy little dude with this bouffant hairdo. Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Eric, did you have any others?
I don't know. I guess we touched on it briefly about how the movie sort of everything just like came together, but a lot of it ended up like coming together basically out of necessity. Like the shark didn't work right. They couldn't get it to work right. So that's why they hardly ever show the shark until the very end. It was sort of the fear of not seeing it and the building up in your imagination that was what created the fear. Like it could have very easily, if everything had worked the way they had originally planned, it could have been just like a very generic sort of almost like monster movie. Yeah. But because it didn't work right, they had to come up with a new idea, and that's what ended up making it work so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the overrun? Like, how far off on their timeline did they end up being? Was it a year? Was it more?
I thought, yeah, it was around, I thought for sure 9 months.
Yeah.
And it was like a tripling of the budget.
Right. Trying to get everything to work and things breaking down and boats sinking. And
a young director on his second real movie tripling the budget and being 9 months behind?
And I think they were having issues too, because they were trying to get make it look like they're really far out in the ocean, but not be far out in the ocean. And there would be like a boat that would like a small craft that would show up in the shot. And so they'd have to wait, and there couldn't be too many waves or something like there was a lot of like trying to get the conditions to be just right because the shark, Eric, as you were saying, was so temperamental that they could it had to be just
you
right.
Try to show that they're out in the deep Atlantic and somebody walks by wading through
cotton candy. I think what's underestimated or maybe not given the credit due is the book was such a hit itself, and the passion that the two producers, Zuckman and I can't remember the other producer now. They both, they snapped up the movie rights because the book was such a success. So I think they thought they had something potentially just based on book sales. They could kind of bank on a certain audience. But it is interesting how much leeway they gave a 27-year-old guy who had not done a movie.
I mean, I think if that happens today, he's replaced halfway through. I don't think he would even make it to being double the budget or triple the budget. Like once he goes over by $100,000 or whatever, he's out. You replace so quickly.
Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just did a quick search. Principal photography for Jaws was supposed to take 55 days, and instead it took 159 days.
Good God.
Wow.
That's a crazy number.
Yeah, and they made more movies back then, but that's still a crazy bet. I mean, the other thing is the pure happenstance of getting certain people in place in time to do it. It's just, Spielberg had his TV movie hit, and then he was kind of coming off no real major credentials to make this. And then Dreyfuss, I don't want to get into casting too quickly, but, he had American Graffiti at least filmed and had some credibility from that. But one of his interim movies didn't do so well. And so he was sort of compelled to say yes after initially saying no to Jaws because he thought he wouldn't have a career because his previous movie was so bad. So it's just funny how much desperation played into everyone trying to get it right.
Yeah. This whole thing was, the whole movie was just they got lucky about like 20 times in a row.
Yeah. I got the other answer to the question. The original estimated budget was $3.5 million. It wound up costing $9 million.
Wow.
That's nuts, man. And them's $1975. Good.
Right.
All right. Well, let's jump into casting stuff. Since Rob broached it already. So I found it interesting that right away, the first actors cast were not the leads. They were Lorraine Gary, who was Ellen Brody. She was the wife of the president of Universal. Murray Hamilton as the mayor. And the stunt woman turned actress Susan Baccalini. I'm going with Baccalini. It was Chrissy, the first victim. And she got
swished all around.
Yeah, she got the job because she could swim and would act nude, basically. Like she would appear nude in the film. And then a bunch of the other minor roles were played by just local residents, which is how we got to our crazy Quint inspiration.
Yep.
Then we get into the main people. I think we've all probably read the same things, but let's just go over it. Some of the people considered for the main roles that didn't get them or turned them down for whatever reason. Brody, like the producers and the author of the book, they wanted bigger names. They were throwing out stuff like Robert Redford for Brody, Paul Newman for Hooper, and Steve McQueen for Quint. But Spielberg didn't want any of that stuff. He wanted, I guess lower level, probably cheaper talent, unknown, so they wouldn't carry the baggage with them coming in. But all right, so some of the Brody ones were Charlton Heston, Robert Duvall as Brody. Duvall, I'd like to see as Brody.
Yeah.
Heston, I don't know about that, but Duvall.
It would be way too dramatic if it was Charlton Heston.
Yeah, I have the 10 Commandments with them.
Yeah.
He would write the beach closed in tablets, right? Yeah.
He'd just part the ocean and the shark would just be flopping on the ground in the middle there.
Yes.
That'd be hilarious.
He would have caught that fish in 4 seconds.
Right.
Other guys other possible Hoopers, John Voight, which at the time that would have been mildly interesting. These other guys I don't know. Timothy Bottoms from Johnny Got His Gun. I don't know that film or him. Joel Grey from Cabaret, and Jeff Bridges.
Oh.
A young Jeff Bridges.
That's a very young Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I think I saw the Jeff Bridges. I thought that was actually a good choice. You could actually see him doing that. Yeah. John Voight boggles my mind just because Dreyfuss was so, gregarious and like outgoing and kind of loud. And Voight just, I feel like the psycho of Voight would have canceled out the psycho of Quint. Like,
can you imagine those guys off camera?
No. They'd be uncomfortable the entire time.
They would have burned down the whole town. Let's see. So options for Quint. Sterling Hayden of Dr. Strangelove and Lee Marvin, who turned down.
No. Take it back, Brendan. Sterling Hayden is not from Dr. Strangelove.
No?
He may be, but his signature role is Captain McCluskey in The Godfather.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So the man who, frisked Michael and then was shot in the Italian restaurant could have been Quint.
I'm going to say, did he not do that yet? But he had already. Yeah. All right. McCluskey, damn it. So 9 days before the start of production, neither Quint nor Hooper had been cast. 9 days beforehand. Wow. Again, they're just flying by the seat of their pants this entire production.
Wow.
I'm not sure how they got Scheider for Brody, but whatever. Shaw was reluctant to take the role because he didn't like the book, but his wife and secretary, his wife and secretary said the last time, or they were telling him to take it, and the last time they were so enthusiastic was when they were when he took From Russia with Love, the James Bond movie. So they were right then and they were right at this time too. I think Shaw's a bit of a wild card. I've got a thing here about the actor for that Quint was based on. His name was Craig Kingsbury, a local fisherman and legendary eccentric. Played Ben Gardner. Good Lord, that guy's insane. Any other casting rumors or thoughts?
No, I mean, I think it's so funny that they didn't, like the appeal of the movie wasn't apparent to everybody.
No.
It's just funny on how there's some decent names being tossed around, but like Dreyfuss, for example, mainly was carried on the recommendation of Lucas.
Yeah.
George Lucas said, "Hey, I just filmed this movie, American Graffiti, but it hadn't come out yet." And he said, "He's a good guy, and he's not a pain in the ass, and you should work with him." And then the fact that he was, taking the job because he didn't feel like his acting career was going places either. So it's just funny how again they both kind of fell into it.
Who do we think was the biggest star coming into this movie? Dreyfuss, Scheider, or Shaw?
Well, Shaw had to have the most impressive resume for sure.
Right.
Scheider probably was the biggest star, though.
I guess so.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah, me too. Because like movies like I don't know, like he was in Marathon Man, right? Was that out at that point?
Yeah.
French Connection.
I think he was in a series of movies in the late '60s. So Shaw had been a stage actor and a play actor, but not like Scheider.
All right. Well, let's move on to everyone's favorite section or part of this podcast, Recasturbate. This is where we recast the movie with today's actors. So, Nash, we did Better Off Dead last night, and instead of each of us going through our list, we decided to change it up and go
by character
by character. So we'll do a round of Scheider, or a round of Brody, a round of Hooper, a round of Quint, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple wild cards I'd like to throw out there.
Yeah, we have all sorts of wild cards usually after that. So we'll get there when we get there. All right. Well, Nash, since you're first, or since you're new, you're first. Who would you recast as Brody?
So I have a couple options. Do I just go with my favorite or list them all?
You can,
however you prefer.
Give us your number one, and then you can give us like two bench players. But we generally say three is our max because otherwise you use up all the good names and really get screwed.
Sure. I actually think this guy can nail this, like not liking the ocean but feeling duty bound vibe to a T, and that's Denzel. Denzel Washington. But I think Josh Brolin and Charlize Theron could both play the chief.
Oh, Brolin? Yeah, sure. I don't like Brolin, but I like the Charlize one. Just as a preview of something later, I have Denzel somewhere else.
I do too.
Yeah.
I could put him in like 8 categories, but
Eric, what do you got for Brody?
So for me, for Brody, I sort of bounced around a little bit with, sort of like the traditional leading man type. I had, but sort of a bit on the younger side. I had thought maybe Michael B. Jordan, but changed my mind. At one point, I thought maybe Chris Evans, but I settled on Oscar Isaac.
Oh,
interesting.
I like that one.
I like that too. I like that. I'd like that one a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even consider him.
Mm-mm.
Damn, that's a good one.
Damn it.
Son of a.
So I had it happened way too quickly, and I was kind of disappointed, but I kept coming back to him. Was Brad Pitt?
Yeah,
he could. Yeah.
But I like Rob, kind of using your same description. I had Idris Elba as my.
See, that's where the whiteness of Martha's Vineyard colored me. My it was
a mashup of.
How do I change my words here? It affected my choices on some of these, except for I did veer off of that.
Yeah, but
what if it was a mashup of Blazing Saddles and Jaws, and Idris Elba was the.
Wait, did you say Idris Elba?
Sorry.
Have another sip.
Idina Menzel.
The other one I had was Jessica Chastain.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like both of the female Brodies at this point. Yeah. Brody was one I had the most trouble casting.
Oh, really?
Because he's such an everyman, and I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what that character's whole thing is. Like, came from New York, but I don't know his backstory. Like, why is he in Martha's Vineyard? He's clearly not happy about it, or his family's not happy about it.
Well, remember, it was supposed to be Long Island, so it was like a suburb of New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I couldn't get a vibe for Brody, but so I'll give you some of the ones that I said no to since I'm last in the Brody thing. I'm going to go over the 3 rule, but 2 of these are bullshit. They wouldn't work because they're way too old, I think. Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
I think he's fine, but I do try to keep my suggestions in the age range, and these guys are well over 50. John Hamm. I like John Hamm for this.
I like that.
I think he could work, but I said no to him. And my other one is bullshit. But the one I picked, which is sort of came out of nowhere, was Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought he could pull it off.
Oh, I was looking at him for a while.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I like
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I like Isaac. And I like the girls too.
Jake's good though.
Women, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I like the boys and the girls. Okay, back to Nash. Pick your Hooper.
I went round and round, and I have a couple others if we need more filler. But I'm going to go with Charlie Day.
Wow.
We said just last night that every podcast, every time we do casting, we have to include Charlie Day in some way.
I think he'd be perfect for this role. He'd have to dial it down a tid, but he'd be great.
That's a good one.
Oh my God. Do you have any second strings?
I thought Franco could do it as well.
Yeah,
and then
that's a good one.
That of course immediately made me think of Seth Rogen, and I just think he's too stoned to do it.
He's too broad, too big and loud. Eric, what do you think? Hooper.
At one point, I thought maybe Cillian Murphy, but I think he's a little too intense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of wanted to. Hooper was never really like comic relief, but he did sort of had some humorous moments that kind of occasionally lighten the mood a little bit. And I thought at one point I thought maybe Daniel Radcliffe.
I considered him as well.
And then I think I've kind of settled on Jason Schwartzman.
Oh wow!
That's good too. The Daniel Radcliffe Schwartzman combo, both very good.
Yeah, I like those.
So I had Jonah Hill. And I think I got into this Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, Moneyball. Like, I like their relationship. I like the kind of dynamic, where Brad Pitt's kind of the soft-spoken.
I think that works.
They have good chemistry together. I also thought Brie Larson would be really good.
I had Brie Larson on my one of my secondary choices. Yeah.
And then I had Daniel Kaluuya, if I'm saying his name right, from Get Out. Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh,
Kaluuya.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. That's good. I had trouble with Hooper. I have one guy that I liked, but any sort of secondary ones I couldn't come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Brie Larson was my second one. My first one, my only choice really for Hooper is Donald Glover. I thought he'd work well.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
I like Donald Glover.
Yeah, I like. Oh, that's
the nerdy tech guy, sort of from The Martian.
Yeah.
I'm like, he could.
Yeah, I like
Yep.
that.
Yeah. All right, back to Nash. This is gonna. There are so many ways to go in this direction.
I mean, there are. Like, I don't know. Like, it would be.
The line is long to play Quint.
Yeah, it'd be imposing to even accept the role. But I know we talked. This is. I'll go from 3, 2, 1. I know we talked about Spielberg thinking about him as Hooper, but I thought Jeff Bridges could probably pull off a Quint nowadays.
Yep.
It
Jeff
depends.
Bridges today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, old Jeff Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought what would be interesting, I've seen him in a couple films lately, is Benicio del Toro.
Oh, that is good too.
I thought he could be Psycho. You know what I mean? Like he could really kind of lay it on.
Yeah.
But then, of course, if you're gonna have like what is one of the greatest characters of all time, you got to have Daniel Day-Lewis play him.
Damn it, that's good.
I had him for a while, but I.
Damn it!
Yeah.
I like that one. That's good.
That's good. All right, Eric.
All right. Well, I almost feel like when we're talking somebody as insane as Quint, I think inevitably this group would go towards Tom Hardy.
I totally have him on my list.
He's my number 2.
But it's at this point, it's almost like the final round of Wheel of Fortune. Like everybody's going to pick RST-LNE. So what else are you going to pick?
Right.
So I do have Tom Hardy on my list. I have Benicio del Toro on my list too. And I was thinking of like all the actors that do crazy. So I came across like maybe like Christian Bale or my other one, but if not Benicio del Toro, then I have Michael Shannon.
Oh, that's good.
Michael Shannon is the leader coming around the final turn.
Newsflash.
Right.
Double newsflash.
Cunt punch.
So
we fucking suck so far. we should.
No, but those are all awesome.
Oh my gosh, that 3-minute clip.
Oh my god,
Eric, those were all really good.
Okay, go ahead.
This is going to be a real bumpy ride. All right, so of course I had Tom Hardy on my list.
Yep.
I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. So I had Harrison Ford as my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2, Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, you had mentioned him for Brody. And my number 1 is Willem Dafoe.
Oh, that is a good one too.
Oh, that's good.
Dafoe. That's good. That's a good one.
Crown the winner of that one, though.
That's a good one. All right, I've got mine yet. So, I also had Tom Hardy.
Of course.
on my bench. I think we need to set a rule, like, for any crazy character, we can't say Tom Hardy anymore. Because
I still enjoy saying it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
Don't restrict it. He's not restricted. We're not going to restrict
He's not
it.
restricted.
Come on.
Yeah.
I also had.
It's right there with putting Charlie Day in every movie.
That's true. All right. Charlie Day and Tom Hardy. I had Denzel as well as like my number 3. Tom Hardy was probably number 2. I'll throw out a wild card. I just thought of it, and he could do it. I think would be Russell Crowe as a crazy Quint.
Okay.
But my number 1, and I think I like him for any number of reasons because I think he can play crazy, is Michael Fassbender as Quint.
Yes, that's a good one.
Feel, but different.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah.
All right, Nash, let's go to Mayor Vaughn.
Well, I feel like there's only one person that can accurately portray Mayor Vaughn and capture all of his essence.
I wouldn't write the name down.
And it's United States Vice President Mike Pence.
Oh! I went to the higher office, Rob.
Yeah, everything's fine. And amity means friendship.
As opposed to Trump.
No, Mike Pence is the bootlicker. So, like, I just feel like he's the smooth talker.
All right.
I thought it was Trump because, damn it, those beaches are going to be open for the 4th of July no matter what.
Oh, COVID or shark be damned. Did you have any backups?
I didn't. I felt like that was it.
That's all right. That's good. Shot, man. Eric, what do you got?
I had a couple of choices. My first one was Bryan Cranston, but I quickly passed on him. I thought at one point Stanley Tucci, but what I came up with, and I do like, he just sort of recently made a comeback in a recent movie, and I think he would do a really good job. Don Johnson.
Oh, interesting.
I considered him as well from Knives Out. Yeah, he's a bit old to me for the position, but who cares? I mean, he's the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Don Johnson.
So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, assuming the president is not available to take the role. I've got Annette Bening as the mayor.
Yeah.
Like getting like you can imagine like getting pressure from city council and business owners and stuff like that, and how she would I think she could play that part. William H. Macy was my number 2.
He's good.
That's good.
My number 1, and I think it's a good one, is Billy Bob Thornton. Not so much kind of the sniveling guy, but like just I think he could play.
He doesn't want his power questioned,
right?
Yeah.
And very calculated. And
Brendan, who in the similar vein, who was the villain in the actor who played the villain in Roadhouse?
Oh, is this the bad guy from Big Lebowski?
Jackie Treehorn.
Yeah, Jackie Treehorn. Come on, Eric. You know the actor's name.
I don't know the actor's name.
Anyway, he could play the mayor as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right. I really have only one choice, but I'll give you my other thought processes.
Okay.
Say that again. I considered Michael Stuhlbarg. Stuhlbarg?
I don't know who
he was in Boardwalk Empire. He was what's the character? He rigged the World Series.
Who was Joe Jackson?
Anyway, he was in Men in Black, the most recent one with Will Smith and Josh Brolin. He had the hat on backwards and he went through time or whatever.
Oh, that guy?
That guy?
Oh, yeah. I know who that is. Oh.
I don't know.
Yes.
He's been in many other movies, but he's sort of like
a character actor. Yeah.
So I didn't go with him, but he was out there. I thought about Sam Rockwell as the mayor.
Uh-huh.
Like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Arrogant enough. The one I like a lot, but I dismissed early on was Paul Giamatti. That maybe he could do it. The one I came across that I like a lot, I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it's a good solid. It's a different movie. It's a different mayor. Would be Nick Offerman. I think he could get to where you wanted him to get, but he's got a different look and everything. So.
Oh my God.
The only other person that we should be talking, or is even worth talking about, and it's debatable if this person's worth talking about at all, is Ellen Brody. Nash, do you have an Ellen?
Well, this kind of leads into one of my other theories, but I think there's only one answer, and it's Diane Lane.
All right. I think that's actually a good one. How does she match up with any of your Brodies?
Well, funny you say this because I have a theory that the entire Jaws cast can be replaced in a one-to-one fashion by the cast from A Perfect Storm.
I fucking knew it.
I don't know where things fall exactly, but I just know the players are strong enough on both sides that you could shake it up and wherever it landed, it'd be fine.
So who's who?
Well, you want John C. Reilly as Quint? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You want a crazy Clooney as Quint? Okay. You do that too.
Clooney's Brody, right?
I don't know. Because Wahlberg could be Brody. So
I think Wahlberg, he could be Brody too, I guess. Damn it, Rob.
You've got the woman that the young deckhand seduced in the Crow's Nest bar. She could be Mrs. Kintner. You got everything you need there.
All right, Eric. Give us your Ellen if you have one.
I do not have an Ellen Brody. That's the right answer. That's plug and play. That could be kind of be anybody.
The character is a zero. They didn't write a character for Ellen Brody, so that's
not until the sequels.
No. Do you have one, Ellen?
I didn't, but one I just came up with is Diane Lane.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, both of you. I put no effort into it.
Not Diane. Who did you say, Rob?
I said Diane Lane, and then I said the whole cast of.
I thought you said Keaton, so that's why I was like,
Diane Keaton. No,
Diane
Keaton, I believe, is 97 years old.
I know. That's why. That's why I was like, when Brendan asked the question, like, who is she?
No. Diane Lane from The Perfect Storm.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a shark. La-di-da, la-di-da.
Wow. Sorry about that, Robbie.
Abortion, Michael. An abortion.
Does Ellen Brody wear a lot of suits and ties and oversized hats?
Yeah. On the beach.
Spectacles.
She's wearing a full tuxedo on the beach.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. So sorry, Rob.
Does the shark have?
I was really baffled by your suggestion, so that's why I was.
Hey, Brendan, I do have two.
Well, wait, I do have one Ellen Brody. Not that it matters, but I'd throw in a Rachel McAdams into that.
Yeah.
Honestly, pick whatever actress who's aged 35 to 45 in that role, because it's not even it's
Blake Lively.
It's like an extra. Yeah.
I actually have two minor characters I like, or two other points. Hendrix, who's the deputy.
Oh yeah.
In the police department.
Mm-hmm.
That is John Krasinski, but only from The Office.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one.
Or I'm sorry, three total points. I think Mrs. Kittner, who, as Eric already referenced, she lost her son being at the beach.
Slippity slap.
Yeah. That's Elizabeth Warren. Another political reference, but she could bring some outrage. Like,
she definitely could.
In place.
Yeah.
You know who I think? Elizabeth Warren could play that part. Just kidding.
That's hilarious. What about Diane Lane?
The whole cast swap out not only applies to Perfect Storm cast. I think it's Gilligan's Island too. You can make that one.
This is something we may have to include in future episodes.
Well, the professor is clearly Hooper, and Gilligan is Brody, and maybe the captain is Quint.
The captain is Quint. All right. That one you may have to.
So who's Mrs. Kittner?
Mrs. Howell.
Mrs. Howell.
Mrs. Howell for sure, and then Ellen's probably not Ginger.
Marianne.
Marianne.
So do the Globetrotters get to visit Amity Island?
Is Ginger Chrissy then? The first victim?
Thank you, Eric. Yes. Now someone's contributing to the discussion.
All right. Well, let's move on to memorable scenes, quotes, lines, that sort of thing. I can go through a list, but I think we all have most of them on the tip of our tongues, right?
Yeah.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Definitely.
That's definitely one. Rob, you're welcome to sing the Quint song if you like.
No, I'm not going to sing.
Farewell and adieu.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.
I didn't, this kind of goes maybe in trivia more than this, but Steven Spielberg voiced the Amity station radio voice when they called in for things. I thought that was funny that he had to do a little, appearance.
Scrambling because he forgot to cast someone to do it?
Yeah, probably.
Which part, Ron? For which part?
He was the Amity station, Coast Guard office voice on the radio.
Yeah, when they called in and it was his wife needed him for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Quint. Back home, we get a taxidermy man. Head's gonna have heads. Ooh, there's some typos in this one.
He's gonna have a heart attack.
He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I brung him. Smile, you son of a bitch, from Brody. That's a good one.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
This one is an ad lib from our man Shaw. Here lies the body of Mary Lee, died at the age of 103. For 15 years, she kept her virginity. Not a bad record for this vicinity. That was just Shaw being the same person.
When I read that, I heard that Spielberg said, give Ellen, I can't remember the actress's name now, just give her a hard time, make her feel uncomfortable. And that's what he came up with.
That's what he came up with. Cage goes in the water. You go in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark.
Back to the trivia. Sorry, but that made me remind me of this. The studio did commission some live shark footage, and a lot of it was used during the cage scene.
Yeah.
And they, were the photographers, the underwater photographers were sort of told like what they were looking for from the film side. And they're like, well, we can't get a shark that big. So they pursued a former jockey who was 4'11" to do some of the scenes in the cage so that he would look more out of size from the shark that was swimming.
I saw 4'9", but I'll go with you on that one. Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. Well, as an aside, did you see, I think it was yesterday, they, I don't know, oceanographers or whoever, got footage of a great white off of Oahu that was like measured at 20 feet or better. Like it was actual, like the size of Jaws. They found a Jaws type shark. And that was just yesterday. So could have used him 45 years ago. All right. Any other quotes or scenes you want to mention? The slap fight. We talked about that one already.
Mr. Hooper.
My favorite is when
Mr. Hooper. That's a good one.
When Hooper throws some rope at Quint and he can't catch it. And he gets all tangled up in his hands. I love that.
I'm a sheep tank.
Or Hooper, when Brody ties the rope to the cleats of the boat and he hooks Hooper's hamstrings in.
Yeah.
And he gets cinched up inside the rope on the back of his legs.
Yeah.
Ugh, that hurts.
That does hurt.
I can't believe I'm the one that's going to be saying this one, but I feel like one of the three of you should be saying this, but the toast that Quint does, here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Oh, yeah.
Let's drink to our legs.
I don't like the term bow-legged. I prefer to call them pleasure curved.
Hilarious. You're always appropriate, Rob.
Yes.
All right. So this is where we get to the question. There's two questions.
There's also the other song that they sing.
Oh, yeah.
Show me the way to go home.
I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Show me the way to go. Yeah.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I had a drink about an hour ago, and it's got right to my head. There's a lot of...
Keep going.
It's the most I've ever heard Brendan sing.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it's got right to my head. Wherever I may roam, by land or sea or foam, you will always hear me singing this song. Show me the way to go home. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it got right to my head. Wherever I may roam, on land or sea or foam, you can always hear me singing.
All right, let's move on.
The doll eyes.
Well, yeah. Rob has doll eyes.
Occasionally.
They roll back and turn white.
Would the plot and story of this movie work today, would this movie get made today?
Yeah, absolutely. They still keep making this movie over and over again. There's always shark movies.
Every year it comes out in a different form, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my answer was it invented not just the shark genre, but like one opposition, whether that's a zombie movie or like a siege movie, like it's the battle movie. And they like perfected it right out of the box.
What would you want to see in a sequel if there wasn't one? Let's pretend all those sequels don't exist. What's the sequel that you want to see?
Well, here's one aspect I don't think you can get away from this entire production, from the original to the sequel. These two producers purchased the book rights, and they were so goddamn, obsessed with getting this movie out on the heels of the book that they rushed into it, right? So, like, they didn't have half the cast even here, all this stuff. So Spielberg goes on to make Close Encounters with Dreyfuss, and by like all accounts, the studio could have had Spielberg and Dreyfuss back for the sequel if they just would have waited.
Yeah.
But they were so obsessed with getting number 2 out like that following summer that they just moved ahead.
But they redeemed themselves with Jaws 3 in 3D.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's SeaWorld.
But my point is, you could have literally had the largest movie franchise on Earth, like in history, I mean, if you just let Spielberg and Dreyfuss and Scheider come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
I would go prequel, not
That's the right answer.
sequel, and that is I want to know Quint.
Uh-huh.
I want his whole
The Adventures of Quint.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. That is like a 10-part Netflix series.
I think he had the trauma of war and then started and rose through the ranks of an ad agency in New York, and then oh wait, forget that.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up with the how much are they worth game.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
And now, let's play the How Much Are They Worth game.
Now I have even more of a chance to not finish last, so this is very exciting for me.
I need redemption.
Me, Al, Eric, and Rob. All right. Hold your water for a second while I fire up the old CelebrityNetWorth.com.
Well, by the way, while we're waiting, I think you could almost do a series of Quint stories, like almost like Jack Reacher. Just comes into a new town and imposes justice.
Like Kung Fu. He's just walking there.
Or the Incredible Hulk.
He drinks 3/4 of a bourbon bottle and then kills you with the last remaining, portion.
All right. Let's start with the very detailed character of Elaine Brody. So it's Lorraine Gray or Gary. See, I can't get him right.
Wow.
Lorraine Gary. What do we think Lorraine Gary's?
Who do you have on your list? Can you?
The only characters in the movie.
I didn't know if you would do like Spielberg or John Williams.
No. I want to try to keep it to the actors at this point.
Okay.
I think we've done Spielberg at some other point.
Oh,
so
right.
I got Elaine Brody. I keep saying Elaine Brody. It's Ellen Brody. Ellen Brody, Mayor Vaughn, Quint, Hooper, and Brody. Chief Brody. So this is Ellen Brody, Lorraine Gary. What do we think she's worth? Oh my God.
Well, she was married to the head of the studio, right?
And so, as we've learned,
I don't feel like she had a very illustrious career.
Let me see here. I will come up with.
which studio put this out at the time?
Universal.
Universal. She was married to the head of Universal.
Or a senior executive, at least.
Something like that, yeah. I've got a number. Anybody else?
I'm good.
I got a number.
All right. Eric, why don't you kick us off?
The head of Universal in 1975.
Do the math. Carry the one.
$25 million.
Okay. I'm saying 5.
I I think it's higher. I'm going to say 11.
I had 25.
Oh. The double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine Gary is an American actress who has a net worth of $10 million.
No.
Rob Nash on the board. Damn it. All right. Lovable Mayor Vaughn. His name is Murray Hamilton.
It's, a long career. But nothing
he's in a lot of stuff.
Like nothing blockbuster though, right?
The only other thing I remember him from is he was Mr. Robinson in The Graduate.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, if you're an actor and you're at the end of your career and you're like, man, everyone knows I played the best dick in every movie. Like, do you feel good? I guess you feel good.
Yeah, I don't know. I often confuse this guy with Deep Throat from All the President's Men.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Let's go with Rob. You go first. I got a number, I think.
I think it's low. I think it's $4 million.
Rob goes 4. Al.
At 8.
All right. I've got 3. Eric.
2.
All right, Murray.
He was in the Amityville Horror.
He loves Amity. Someone has hit it on the head and gets double points. Murray Hamilton was an American actor who had a net worth of, had a net worth, he is no longer with us, of $4 million. Nash, it's a double whammy.
Wow.
I'm running away with it.
I'm untouchable. Hal Holbrook, by the way, is who you confused Larry Cohen with.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Rob has 3 points already.
So killing.
Let's go with Robert Shaw. Quint. How much of that money did he drink away?
I would have.
And we were already talking about his problems with the IRS.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's got the Nicolas Cage problem that we talked about.
Wesley Snipes.
Could this be a negative number? I don't know.
I feel like he was the kind of guy that pulled it together, much like the speech. He showed up sober to get that one done. I feel like he got his act together and he finished it. $12 million.
Whoa.
That's high. That's high. Damn it, that's too
high. I love the immediate regret. That's fantastic. I've got 10.
Whoa.
10 is my number.
You had a long career.
3.
3 for Al. Eric.
I'm 1. Because he died within a couple of years of Jaws coming out. He died.
Could have shared that.
He died in 1978.
Oh, I'm having trouble finding him on Celebrity Net Worth. In fact, I don't see him at all.
What?
I know. It's giving me Tommy Shaw.
I would suggest then that we replace him with John Williams. We were saying that
oh my gosh.
Character.
Johnny Williams, a young up-and-coming composer, did the score of Jaws. He may have worked again, I'm not sure, but this is maybe his only movie, I'm not sure. John Williams, let's give him a number then.
Well,
Quint.
Between just to tick him off, and you got to presume that he got smarter and got better deals. as you went forward. So you've got this movie, Star Wars, Superman movies, the Indiana Jones movies, E.T.,
Harry Potter's.
Oh, did he do Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Jurassic Park. Like every big movie ever.
He did, I think. This was one of the trivia things I was trying to look up, and I couldn't find an answer without having to do math, and I just didn't want to do math, of how many movies that John Williams and Steven Spielberg did together. And it was more than 20 in 2012.
Did he do Schindler's List too?
Yes.
I think so.
Saving Private Ryan?
And so that doesn't,
Maybe.
Yes. But that then he's also done George Lucas movies. He's done, it's an unbelievable resume.
And I'm going to assume for like everything at least after Star Wars he owns.
Right. Yeah, hopefully.
That's smart, right?
Yeah.
So like when Jurassic Park's on TBS, he's getting paid. Oh, man.
He did Empire of the Sun, of course.
Of course. Yeah, that I do.
I have a number, and I don't know what to make of this number.
Yeah.
I have a crazy big number in my head.
I have a really big number too.
I've got my number.
Even 100 million.
Huh?
I have 100 million.
Oh, I'm bigger than that.
Oh, good.
So am I.
Yeah, so am I.
Good. I don't like to be the top one.
No, but I'm dropping it down right now.
What do you want, Al?
I have 225 million.
Okay. Eric?
Mine is 250.
No.
Rob?
$375 million.
Oh my God. I almost said 300.
Did you say you dropped your number?
Yes, I was so much out.
$500 million.
2.4 billion. Okay. Let's see. Someone's close. Yep. John Williams is a prolific music conductor. I think that's selling him short a little bit. With a net worth of $300 million.
Oh my goodness.
So Rob said what, 375?
Yep. And Eric said 250. Eric wins.
Aha!
Price is right in me.
He did, totally. That's why I like us writing the number down before we say it. 300. Good. Yeah, let's see.
I almost said 300 too.
I don't want to go into his.
Can I tell you what my first number was?
I thought it was crazy to say.
What was your first number, Nash?
850 million.
That's Spielberg money.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare you?
All right, let's go with Mr. Hooper. Richard Dreyfuss.
So I don't know much about his career other than I don't remember him getting into the production end of the whole business.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Just an actor.
He didn't pull a Cruise or a Brad Pitt where they have the whole production company. And
so we got this, we got Close Encounters, and then nothing until What About Bob, right? What About Bob is his.
What About Bob? Yeah.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah.
He was in Stand By Me. The American President.
American Graffiti.
Yes.
I don't think he's worth that much. He's worth $17 million.
17 from Rob.
Looking at I had written down a number and then I wanted to look at the roster of the movies and I got to readjust my number.
Oh man. My number is 21.
Mine is 30.
I have 47.
47. Okay. No one's really going to be happy, but Richard Dreyfuss's net worth is, I'm surprised by this number, $5 million.
Come on.
Huh.
5 million clams.
Well, there's a.
Did he have like a gambling addiction or?
Did he have horses?
There's got to be a serious spending problem there.
He gave it all to Robert Shaw. No, I don't know.
Blew it all on the ponies or something.
Hmm.
I know, that's surprising.
He won a freaking Oscar.
This is, yeah, I don't know. Again, this is, we're all basing it off of this website, so if they're wrong, whatever, but it seems
He's been divorced
crazy.
twice.
That'll get you every time.
All right, and finally, Roy Scheider, Martin Brody. What's his net worth? Let's see, Roy.
He occupies that space of American filmmaking for me that is so, maybe, I don't want to say terrible because I haven't watched it. It's just opaque. It's like that, I don't know, 74
right
to like 79 maybe. Just an empty space except for, Star Wars and Aliens.
And Jaws.
Well, and Jaws, yes, of course.
So if Dreyfuss is at 5, Roy Scheider?
Sharky's Machine?
I hope he's only in...
Was he an Earwolf?
Titles that...
Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
Blue Thunder. We were talking about this last night. How can this happen again?
Yep.
Jesus.
He was in Marathon Man. He was in French Connection.
Those are big movies.
Yeah.
I'm going to say $9 million.
9. Al, what do you got?
I had 4.
4. Eric, what do you got?
Mine was 10.
I've got 17.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think he may have done well. Oh. Roy Scheider.
When did he die?
I don't know.
Last movies I saw were in the 2000 to 2003.
Now, before I say his number, I want to read a little bit about Roy Scheider and what they have. They have a quick little bio for each person. It's small, but his I don't know why this is mentioned. Roy Scheider is an American actor and amateur boxer. Who has a net worth of he was an excellent athlete throughout his school years, competing in the Golden Gloves as a welterweight. Like, that's high in his accomplishment.
Yeah.
All right. His net worth is $15 million.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I get that.
My gosh, I am
get on the
am
board.
the Brendan of this show.
Allison
2
gets
days
a
in
goose
row.
egg.
Again, 2 days in a row.
I get 1. Eric gets 1.
Oh my gosh, I've become the Brendan.
Rob gets 4.
Oh, now I have to do
Nice.
3.
Yeah.
Nice.
Once again, I'm celebrating by not finishing last. So where the bar is set.
You are celebrating in your wife's loss?
No, in my amazing victory.
Wow.
In getting 1 right. All right. Any closing thoughts on Jaws and all that it is?
We sort of glossed over it sort of at the beginning when you were talking about like the first time we saw the movie. The first time I saw it was the same as Rob, like on the ABC Sunday night movie.
Yeah.
But I very much know that I was aware of the movie much, much sooner than that.
Yeah.
I honestly, it was one of those, I just feel like I always, even as a little kid, was aware of that movie. 'Cause like the way people talked about it, I always had it in my head. It was like the scariest movie ever made. And it was almost infamous to me until seeing it on TV that first time when I was, I don't know, 10 or 12.
I would agree. And I think the movie poster was like kind of added to that as well.
Well, what was the slogan? Like, you'll think twice before going in the water? Or
So don't go back in the water, right?
Don't go back in the water.
Just when you thought it was safe.
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah, because it was it was just, it was everywhere. It was constantly mentioned in pop culture all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So we all knew it before we saw it. I think Alien did that for me too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's getting late. Let's get out of here.
Good job, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.